Cowbird by Jae Ess. Chapter 6. The Mystery. It's late. I'm standing in the moonlight beside the swift-running river, side by side with the family's mechanic and chauffeur, when a sudden icy gust of wind pulls a little shiver from me. "You're cold," Sam observes. "Well," I say, and I sniff a little from my slightly running nose. I have been outside for a while. "I'll walk you back to the house." I'm a little surprised when he holds out his arm like a proper gentleman escort, but I accept it gratefully. It is late and I am suddenly rather tired, and without the aid of the flashlight, it would be a long, treacherous walk back on my own. Being tired, however, does not stop my overactive mind from continuing to mull over the problem of Harrison Squire's murder. Why did the killer move the body? I muse as Sam guides me through the dark forest. What purpose could moving it have possibly served? I suppose the simple answer is they didn't want him found. But I'd already found him. Moving the body after the fact with so many people around, sure to be combing the area any minute. They risked being spotted by any one of them. Simply running away would have made far more sense. I guess they felt it was worth the risk. And who could have done it? My mind is already jumping to the next question. To shatter his skull like that, then carry him off. Only a man could be so strong. I guess that eliminates all female suspects. Unless, I muse, mind racing, unless it was a man and a woman working together. Eliminating no one. You're getting nowhere, Miss Porter. Perhaps, I murmur. Perhaps not. Later, when we're standing outside the house, Sam faces me with the slightest smirk. "You know, I don't think I'll ever get over it. The sight of you out there in the dark, digging through the dirt with your bare hands to find a dead body." "Well, I'm not afraid of dead bodies. At least, not in theory." "Oh?" "When I was a child, I wanted to be an Egyptologist. You know, study mummies, that sort of thing." "That's a little different, isn't it?" "Is it? I wonder." "At any rate, it's not as though a corpse can hurt me." "A corpse, no. But I shouldn't need to remind you there's still a killer out there, Miss Porter." "Well, that's what I have you for, isn't it?" "You're very trusting." He cocks his head just a little. "What if the killer turns out to be me?" I consider his suggestion seriously, and dismiss it. "No, you're not a killer. You're not the type." This amuses him, and he laughs lowly, a warm sound. "At least," I amend my statement, considering him a little longer, "you're not the type that would kill without a very good reason." He sobers at this, gives me a hard look with those keen, color-shifting eyes of his. Somehow, it makes me a little nervous. "Listen to me," I laugh awkwardly. "Assigning your type. I'm as bad as Letty River." "Who?" "Why, she's—" An idea comes to me suddenly. Someone I need to see tomorrow. I should call on her first thing in the morning. Oh, but tomorrow's Sunday, she'll be in church. Afternoon, then. Have the car ready." "As you like." Already distracted, deep in thought, I turn to mount the steps, forgetting Sam in the lawn until I hear him call after me, "Good night, Miss Porter." For some reason, those words make my heart jump up and down a little wildly in my chest. My fingers unconsciously reach up to grip the edges of my sleeves as I glance back at him shyly. "Good night, Sam." Upstairs in my room, I place the bullet on my dresser beside my collection of arrowheads, and I take off my foggy glasses. I strip out of my clothes and change into a warm nightgown before diving under the covers. It's late and I'm tired. I've had an unbelievably long and stressful day, and all I really want to do now is sleep. But my mind won't let me. Sam said I should leave this matter to the police, but I already know the police won't investigate. Not after what happened today. No, if I'm going to find Harrison's body and Harrison's killer, I'll have to do it myself. The first thing I need to establish is a motive. Who would want to kill Harrison? He was the nicest man, at least to me. He was, well, who was he? Harrison was someone who came around twice a year, conducted some business with my father, stayed over for a few days and left. No explanation, but he did it like clockwork, for as long as I can remember. He wasn't an investor. Father schmoozes his investors, like he did Lady Charlotte today, rolling out the red carpet for them. But he never did that for Harrison. Father was always funny around Harrison. In one way, I thought he looked forward to his visits, but I thought he resented them too, like he couldn't wait for them to be over. Could that be because Father knew Harrison was the type of man to bring sniper rifles to garden parties? It's strange. Though I cared for him deeply, the more I think of it, the more I realize I never knew a thing about Harrison Squire. So where do I begin then, establishing a motive for his murder? And how will I find the killer? There were at least 200 guests at Louise and William's party today. That's a lot of suspects. Letty will know, I decide, flipping my pillow to the cold side and flailing in my bed a little until I find a more comfortable position. I'll go in to see her tomorrow and ask her opinion on the matter. But first, I think, noting just the faintest light of dawn coming through the seam in my curtains, I'll get some sleep. Good afternoon, my dear. What? No, you're not interrupting, no. My husband was interrupting earlier when he stopped my writing to ask me what year Sargon the Great became ruler of the Assyrian Empire. Apparently a tidbit he needs for his sermon next week. Really, that man. Just preached this morning and already he's writing notes for his next oration. Doesn't he know how to take a break, my darling reverend? Of course, neither do I. Did I tell you about the book I was working on, dear? About how dinosaurs survived Noah's flood and went on to live alongside man as creatures the ancients knew as dragons? It also has chapters about the Nephilim and other cryptids, and all about the Illuminati's dastardly cover-up of their existence. I'm sure I told you all about it. No, I'm sure you did not. But let me know when it's coming out, because I'm definitely buying a copy. It's late afternoon, and I sit in Letty River's drawing room with a cup of tea. She's as chatty as usual, dressed casually in slacks and a men's maroon pullover sweater, somehow managing to distract her from her otherwise endless monologues. I tell her a little of what happened yesterday after we parted. I was wondering, Letty, after I ran for help, did you go into the woods? Did you see Harrison's body? I did go into the woods, of course. Too curious not to. I didn't see a body, though I did see a shape moving in the trees. The sight terrified me, I won't lie, and I ran before I could get a good look at them. A shame. Most likely that was our killer. It's all right. Better that you stayed safe. But that shape you spotted, did you notice whether it was a man or a woman? She considers this, shakes her head. I really couldn't say for sure. Their figure was too obscured by the trees. Disappointed but not daunted, I tell her a little of my recent thoughts about Harrison, how after he died I realized I hardly knew a thing about his personal life, only that he was well-traveled, and that he lived in the capital, and perhaps that he was in the army at some point. So it seems to me, Letty observes, sipping her tea, the real mystery isn't who killed Harrison Squire. It's who was Harrison Squire. And whom did he come to that party to kill? Whomever he wanted to kill doesn't change the fact that Harrison was my good friend, and I'm determined to find his murderer. Aren't there any leads you can give me, Letty? Any ideas at all about how I should start this investigation? She sets her teacup down. I'm sorry to have to be the one to say it, my dear, but you probably won't be able to find a killer amongst 200 suspects, not without police resources. I wilt a little at her words. I was afraid of that. But, she says, and I look up hopefully, at the very least you want to be sure those in your immediate vicinity aren't killers, yes? Especially those in your own family. My own family? I hadn't even considered such a possibility. and yet there is wisdom in her words. There were a lot of strange things about that day, now I think of it. Ben's conversation with Jackson, his friend's crude appeal for the money my brother owed him, Louise's disappearance just as we were meant to be toasting her and William St. James, and Will Sr.'s disappearance at the same time. Ben's too. They were all missing about the time of the murder, and all of them acting strangely. You can't investigate everyone who was at the party, but you can investigate those in your own home. As far as I'm concerned, Letty lifts a brow of silent judgment. They are the most suspicious anyway. I think she might be right about that, but since she brought up my family, that reminds me of another question I had for her. I've been meaning to ask you, that thing you do, where you tell people's types just by looking at them. I never asked you about mother and father. What do you want to know? Well, I shift uncomfortably. Do you think they could be murderers? You'll permit me to speak frankly? Absolutely. Your mother is half-addled. With so much alcohol in her system combined with the drugs, she'd be more than capable of committing a murder. Though whether or not she'd remember it the next morning is another story. As for your father, Mother thinks he's having an affair with his secretary, I volunteer. What, with Edith Appletree? Letty shakes her head. Impossible. But they're always together. That's because they work together. But Edith would never have an affair with a married man. She may be pretty and even ambitious, but she's far too proud of her ability to consider stooping to such a thing just to gain a career advancement. And your father, he's not the cheating type. But he is, though. Letty raises a questioning eyebrow and I feel my face color. I mean, the rumors about his mistress, my birth mother. She snorts through both nostrils rather like a horse. She considers me longer, then shakes her head vehemently. No, I just can't see it. Dwayne Porter would never cheat on his wife. He's just not the type to be swayed by passion. Is he not? Then how does she explain my existence? Am I really Dwayne and Marcella Porter's legitimate daughter? Are these alien looks of mine just a throwback to some great-great-grandfather no one's ever heard of? I consider a mental picture of my parents' profiles doubtfully. I've never seen any of myself in either of them. Letty, can I ask you one more question? Sure, honey. You've got such a clear insight into everyone else, but I was wondering, what about me? What sort of person am I? You? Maybe it sounds pathetic, but I really don't know myself sometimes. Who I am or where I'm going. What I'm meant to do with my life. That's a tricky one, she muses, studying me intently for a solid 10 seconds. Really, it's difficult to say how you'll end up. You're still growing. Still growing? I laugh uncomfortably. But I'm 26. Letty's warm eyes crinkle as she smiles at me very gently. Yes, dear, but you've yet to fully come into your own. Or do you disagree with my assessment? I consider her words with a faint pang. No, I answer softly. I think you're right. She nods thoughtfully and pats my forearm with an absent, motherly sort of gesture. Don't count yourself out yet. We all work these things out at our own pace. Right now you can't quite picture where you'll end up or how, but you'll get there all right. And when you do, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the way your life's turned out. You think so? She smiles at me again. Good people always are, dear. Letty's given me a good deal to think about. I thank her for her time and leave the river home with my head even more full of jumbled up puzzle pieces than before. Outside, beneath the shade of fast darkening clouds, Sam waits by the car with a cigarette in his mouth. When he sees me coming, he drops it in the driveway and rubs it out before hurrying to get the door for me. I thank him absently and fall into the car seat, staring out the window with my chin cupped in my hand as we roll down the driveway. Did you get any good information? At the sound of his voice, I look up, startled. I meet his greenish-brown gaze in the rearview mirror. I'm not sure. What did she say? She said I'm immature. I hear Sam smirk faintly at this, and I bristle. You agree with her, don't you? Never said I did. But you didn't deny it either. He smirks again, not cruelly, and strangely I find I don't mind so much that he's laughing at me. It's almost nice in a way. It's how I'd imagined a friend might laugh at me. Not that I've ever really had someone like that. There was something else she said. It's bothering you, he guesses, and I can't deny it. I wonder, do you think I resemble my parents, Sam? His eyes widen at my question, and he glances at me again in the mirror. Then he looks back to the road. I don't know that it's my place to say, miss. So he sees it too. Everyone sees it. And yet they act like nothing's wrong. Like everything about this Cowbird circumstance is perfectly ordinary. Letty said the real question wasn't who killed Harrison, but who was Harrison. Now I'm beginning to think that's not the question I need to ask myself right now either. The real question is, who am I?
See the pyramids along the Nile. Watch the sunrise from the tropic isle. Just remember, darling, all the while you belong to me. See the marketplace in old Algiers. Send me photographs and souvenirs. Just remember when a dream appears, you belong.